are 4 important points I'd like to make about Chinese religions. First, most Chinese who practice Confucianism and Daoism do not consider either to be religions. Second, while these 2 major indigenous belief systems seem quite different, they are usually intertwined in a syncretic blend. Third, though Confucianism and Daoism originated in China, their beliefs and rituals have spread to most of the world's continents. They're even sometimes referred to without using the terms Chinese or religion. Finally, I plan to explain how Chinese religions offer a sort of sociocultural lens through which Asians in many parts of the world interpret the ideas of family, community, and one's place in the cosmos. The ancient traditions Confucius claimed to be reviving began around the 13th century BCE, before the Common Era. At least, this is our earliest archaeological evidence of both divination practice and reverence for ancestors. During this time, tortoise shells and ox bones were incised with questions for the ruler's deceased ancestors, then burned, and the cracks scrutinized for the answers. Will the rain be enough for this year's crops? And will there be diseases among the herds? Were the kinds of questions asked of these ancestors. The deep connection to deceased ancestors in Chinese religions today began over 3 millennia ago. Also around this time, a divination manual called the Book of Change, or I-ching, was compiled. In this book, the workings of the cosmos were laid out. The entire world, the book explains, is made up of 2 opposite and equal forces, yin and yang. Yin encompasses darkness, passivity, the female, and yang, brightness, activity, and the male. As you can see in the yin-yang symbol, they are not completely separate, but interpenetrating, rather like Confucianism and Daoism. An energy called qi causes yin and yang to mix, constantly recombining in different forms. Qi, moving through yin and yang, is the generative, creative force that makes up the world and everything in it, including you and me. This is the basis for Chinese cosmology, medicine, science, art, and even cuisine. Based on this view of the world, Chinese religions do not view things in terms of good and evil, but rather harmony and disharmony. Of course, this means that the goal of religious practice is to create and maintain harmony in one's life, community, and the world. Confucian and Taoist beliefs are founded on these ancient beginnings. We think that Confucius lived around 551 to 479 BCE, long after the compilation of the Book of Change. Laozi, an honorary title that simply means elder or old master, has been identified with 2 different people from various periods, one near the time of Confucius. But it's generally thought that there was no such person. His book, the Daodejing, was probably compiled by 2 or more people. Buddhism entered China very early in the 1st century CE, Common Era. Although aspects of Buddhism conflicted with Confucian and Taoist beliefs, many practices were adapted to fit into the Chinese religious mixture at the local level. As this syncretic tradition spread throughout Asia, and then, via immigration, throughout the world, it became not just Confucianism, not just Daoism, and not just Buddhism, not even only Chinese, but still a recognizable syncretic religion in other parts of the world. This is why, for example, today we see a Taoist statue of Tu Di Gong, a Taoist god, integrated into a Buddhist shrine as far away from China as a Vietnamese-American shop in Tucson, Arizona. Confucianism teaches that transformation begins with oneself and extends outward, but it never lets us forget our family. Family relationships are at the heart of every society, and cosmic harmony depends upon harmony within the family. Thus, of the 5 possible Confucian relationships, the most important is that between parent and child. Parents are expected to nurture their children, and children are to revere their parents. Reverence for parents, called filial piety, extends to one's ancestors as well. This has been misinterpreted as ancestor worship, but it's better understood as a sense of connection that remains unbroken even after death. In some cultures, death ends the possibility of contact between the living and the deceased. However, in both Daoism and Confucianism, these realms of the living and the dead are, in a sense, contiguous, and there are many rituals and times of the year that allow the living to feel close to their ancestors. The paths of personal transformation that Chinese religions offer are not only for the benefit of oneself, but also in service to family and community. For Confucianism especially, this means action in the world, studying, gaining employment, providing for one's family, and working for the good of the community. For Daoism, it means taking care of the environment around oneself and finding within oneself a miniature replica of the cosmos. This overview has been necessarily brief, leaving out important groups and practices, but I hope it's given you an introduction to some of the ideas we consider when we use the term Chinese religions.